Welcome to the weekly news with Souls, 5150, Ratchet City, Shreveport, Louisiana. Before you can talk about changing the world, sometimes you have to go back home, back to your roots, back to the streets that raised you, back to the people who shaped you, back to the place where your story began. For me, that place is Shreveport, Louisiana. And they say before you start sweeping around everyone else's front door, you better make sure you sweep around your own. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going home. Every week, we're going to talk about Shreveport, the good, the bad, and everything in between. We're talking breaking news, crime, politics, sports, entertainment, business, culture, and most importantly, the people and communities that make this city what it is. Because too often, people who don't know where you come from try to sell your story. They see a headline, they see a crime statistic, they see a viral video. They take a piece of content without understanding the context, and from that, they create an entire narrative about your city and your people. But there's more to Shreveport than the headlines. There's history, there's culture, there's struggle here, but there's also resilience. From Moortown to Allendale, from Cooper Road to North Pine Drive, and every neighborhood in between, there are stories that deserve to be told by people who understand where those stories come from. This show isn't about pretending our problems don't exist. It's about addressing them. It's about accountability. It's about making the difficult questions or asking the difficult questions. And it's about understanding if we're serious about rebuilding our communities, somebody has to be willing to start at the foundation. I'm going back to my roots because I believe you can't rebrand something without first understanding it. You can't rebuild something you're afraid to examine. And you can't change the narrative if you're unwilling to tell the whole story. So we're going to talk about what Shreveport has been. We're going to deal with what Shreveport is today. And we're going to have conversation about where Shreveport can go tomorrow. This is bigger than reporting the news. This is about reclaiming our story, rebranding our city, and rebranding our community. And reminding the world that Shreveport, Louisiana is more than what you see in the headline. This is the city that raised me. So before I try to fix the world, I'm starting right here at home. Welcome to the weekly news with Souls, 5150, Ratchet City, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our news, our communities, our stories. Let's go.
This is our city,
Our people, our history, our future.
the week.
Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. This is Souls, man. I'm back at you again on this blessed Sunday. This is going to be the weekly Shreveport Weekly News with Souls. Going to be talking to you guys about things that are going on in my city. But I also created this show due to trying to allow people to be able to understand the thought process of others, why we create the thought processes we do, and why we say the things that we say. Welcome in, Naomi. Welcome in, Miss Jen. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're just coming in, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do all the free stuff. Share it with a friend. This show will be coming on every Sunday. We'll be bringing to you guys 4 different topics every Sunday. The show is not here to hold up your Sunday. It's here to go through. It won't be as long, but it'll be very thorough. We're going to have 4 spotlights that we discuss. We're going to be discussing Port City crime. We're going to be talking about Port City politics and entertainment and news. And then we'll also be talking about Port City sports. That's high school sports, college sports, all those things of that nature. And then we'll also end every show with a little bit of Shreveport history. So that's what we're going to be doing here on this weekly Shreveport news. Again, welcome in everybody. Thank you for coming in, Miss Naomi. Naomi said, hi, how are you doing, man? Thank you, Jen, for welcoming in. What's up, Super Mac in the building? He said, enough respect due. Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you, dog. Ridget is in the building. He said, I started trapping because of Umar Johnson. I was lost in school. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this show is going to be something different than y'all are normally used to seeing. For those who are familiar with like no middleman, things of that nature. He said, repost it for all. It's already out there. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate you, man. Again, this show is going to be something different What I've noticed lately, especially with everything that's going on currently in our society, everything that's going on currently in the news with the Carmelo Anthony, with the Nolan Wells, I think a lot of people are getting very confused by certain people's opinions, mostly certain things that you might hear me say. I think a lot of people don't understand why we are the way we are or why we the way we think. And this news show is going to talk about my hometown, but it's going to also provide you with information to see what we see in my hometown every day. Um, I always tell people the best analogy I can give you is if every day you walked outside and your normal animal that you've seen every day was a deer and you never seen a dog in your life, you wouldn't know how to speak about a dog and you wouldn't know how to care for a dog because you've never seen one before. So that's kind of what I want to talk about when I start this show. Again, we're going to be breaking down crime, politics, education, news, school, and a little bit of history each week. This is something I wanted to put together. I think you guys will start understanding things a little bit better. And we're going to always be starting out with the breaking news. So we're going to bring you guys the first segment today. The first segment today is going to be called the 5150 News. So here we go. Well, 5150 Crime, actually. So, for those who haven't seen the local news in Shreveport, Louisiana, we just had a major crime happen about a day or two ago where a man actually took the life of a couple people. He even shot at his own mother. But I'm going to show you guys this from three different news sources in the city. We're going to have KSS 12. We're also going to have KTLA, and then we'll have KSLA 12 again, bringing another update. So I'm going to be bringing you guys this story, and we're going to talk about it if you want to talk about it. But I'm just going to be showing you guys what a day-to-day looks like in our city. For those who don't know, my brother is a police officer in the city. He's been doing it for over a decade now. He's loved in the city. He's loved in the neighborhoods. He's also a resource officer. So he patrols and protects kids every day. And so there's a lot that goes on. And I pray every day that my brother makes it home because of the things that I see every day happening in my city. Again, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And we're going to go ahead and get this story started. So here we go.
Person is dead tonight, and multiple people were shot in an incident that started off as domestic violence. The shooting happened at two locations near Linwood Avenue and Attaway Street in Shreveport. One suspect is in custody tonight. KSLA's Marvin Andrade shares what we know about these tragic turn of events.
It started with a mother checking on her son. Shreveport police say the son opened fire on her, and when she fled in a vehicle, he followed and kept shooting.
He, best we can tell, has some mental issues, and all I can say from there is a shooting ensued. The mother got into a vehicle and fled. The suspect then got into a vehicle and pursued and continued shooting.
The chase ended near Linwood and 61st Street, where police say the suspect caused multiple crashes, injuring innocent bystanders who were rushed to the hospital. When his own vehicle crashed, the suspect got out and opened fire on people at a nearby business and drivers passing by. One person was killed, several others were hurt.
The suspect then wrecked himself out here at the intersection and got out of his vehicle and began just shooting wildly at people that were at business, people that were driving down the road, and until he was taken into custody by police.
A witness who saw it all unfold asked to remain anonymous and says the gunfire didn't shake him one bit.
So you were right in front of it and hearing the shots. Were you scared at any point?
No.
Why not?
I'm used to it. I grew up in Houston.
Shreveport police are still investigating. We will keep you updated as we learn more. In Shreveport, Marvin Andrade, KSLA News 12.
So now let's look at it on another station here. We're going to play it here, and you guys are going to be able to start hearing a theme from the city. And every time you hear someone talk about the things that are going on. So here we go.
As we mentioned, unfortunately, 2 people are dead, and Shreveport police say one of the victims was shot to death. Police say it stemmed from domestic violence. That call came into police just 15 minutes after the original call on Linwood Avenue. Fox 33's Melody Newsom joins us live. She spent hours at the fatal scene along Attaway Street. Melody, what can you tell us tonight?
Yeah, Alex, Shreveport police are investigating a shots fired incident where they say a female victim was fatally shot on Attaway Street. Now, officers responded after reports of gunfire occurred near the area. They say multiple people fled the scene before police even arrived. Police did say the incident started near Linwood Ave and 61st as domestic in nature and continued on to Attaway Street. Along with the female victim, 3 additional individuals were struck by gunfire but sustained non-life-threatening injuries. A nearby neighbor was in his home when the shots were fired and shares his feelings on the incident and a message to those who are engaging in violence.
I was in the house. I heard the shots. I, didn't come outside, but I heard about it now. I've been here all my life. It's just something that's occurring every night. The police don't come out enough, but I see they're here now. Stop the crime. Stop the violence. Respect each other. You got to give respect to get respect.
Yeah, this investigation remains ongoing, and we will have more information for you as it becomes available. Reporting live in Shreveport, Melody Newsom, Fox 30.
That boy Dennis was sharp, looking like a chessboard. I'm telling you, that boy Dennis was sharp, man. We're going to play one more news update for you guys. We're going to get that started, man. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. Make sure you do all the free stuff. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and share with a friend.
KSLA News 12 starts now with breaking news.
Well, thank you for joining us. We continue to cover breaking news across the city of Shreveport. Multiple shootings this afternoon. We are going to go live now to Peyton Manuel, who is at Linwood and West 61st Street. What's the latest, Peyton?
Yeah, hey, Jeff, I'm standing right here on Linwood Avenue where police are now calling this a domestic-related homicide. It all started around 4 p.m. over on Attaway Street. So now the police are basically saying that these these multiple incidents are connected. It started with what was supposed to be a wellness check. But before police could get there, they say the suspect started firing at a woman they believe to be his mother. It then led to a car chase where the mom entered a vehicle. She was riding as a passenger with 2 other women. The suspect was chasing them, which led them down on Linwood. I'm going to step out of the way here so you can see the active unfolding scene. What you're looking at here is Linwood, and further down is 61st Street, where multiple wrecks happened. Police say this tragedy got multiple bystanders involved in this tragedy. Now, some of them are in the hospital. They don't know the condition of the victims, but they say they hope they're okay. I can also confirm that after all of the shootings and the wrecks that have happened, 4 people are confirmed to be shot. One of those individuals is confirmed to be deceased. You can stay here with us at KSLA News 12. Make sure you download that app. We're going to be pushing all types of notifications and updates to you because this is an active, unfolding scene, and we're working to learn more to bring you the latest. In Linwood, Peyton Manuel, KSLA News 12.
Awesome. You see it there, man. You see it there. We had a tragic event happen over the past 24 to 48 hours back in my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana. They stating now that the gentleman had a little bit of, if my wrenches can go ahead and get old master of the underworld out of there. Appreciate you guys. This incident has been going on for about 48 hours or so out there in my city of Shreveport, Louisiana. They're calling it a domestic violent homicide. They did state that the man possibly had some form of mental health illness. With that being said, if you notice the trend throughout all the interviews of the people that they spoke to, the first thing they asked them were like, why didn't it bother you? Why weren't you scared? And the first thing they said was, hey, we're used to this. It happens all the time. The one dude, Mr. Dennis McCall, as y'all seen with the smooth suit on, the first thing he said was he was surprised that the police officers were out there this time. So those are the norms in the city of Shreveport, Louisiana, where I'm raised and born, and where I was born. The reason why, again, I'm doing this show for anybody who's just now tuning in is because I think a lot of times we are on platforms and a lot of people start to form their own thought process about you or of you without knowing why you think the way you think. Doesn't mean that we have to agree on everything, but I think sometimes having a starting point of where people are from will provide you a different point of view, or at least an understanding. With that being said, you will notice in my city that when you walked out of the doors that a lot of the crime was committed by certain groups. Sometimes those groups were crime on crime type things, but we also have a lot of issues going on in the city. I'm going to be showing you guys some history of my pastor actually at the end of this when we get to the Shreveport history today. The church that I attended, Mount Canaan Baptist Church, my whole life growing up, we had a pastor by the name of Reverend Harry Blake. If you look him up, he was definitely a civil rights leader. He walked directly with the Martin Luther King. There's pictures of it. You can find them. He was the head of like the Black Pastor Caucus, all types of stuff. Whatever you could be a president of that had to do with the with anything with the African Americans or anything of that nature, he was definitely a lead of it. So there was a lot of things that was provided to us as young kids that some people might not ever get, or they probably won't receive it until they're older. My thought process when it comes to being strategic or working within the things that we have to work in, some people call it the system. My thought process goes right into the things and the steps that we learn about being strategic. And our rich history in Shreveport, Louisiana, all falls through through strategic strategies, which I will show you guys today. Prayers to the family. There were some innocent bystanders that were also shot from that gentleman that happened. So prayers to those families out there. Prayers to everyone who was involved in that incident. Hopefully that gentleman was able to just not get apprehended, but get provided some mental health care. After speaking with my brother also, I know that there was no shots fired by the police officers. To me, that's always a big win. Even though there was a gun on scene, it wasn't any shots fired by the police officers. They were able to apprehend him even after knowing that he was using the weapon in a very unconventional way. So we're going to move on to our next segment. Our next segment is going to be talking about our politics and entertainment. So we're going to be talking about that. So here we go. All right. So in our politics and entertainment news section, we're going to be talking about 50 Cent, as you see in the title. 50 Cent, probably about 1.5 to 2 years ago, actually came to Shreveport, Louisiana, and he purchased millions of dollars of property, land, and brought down events. He did a few things that the city was very excited about. When 50 came, a lot of people actually had a lot of hope. When 50 Cent came, that whole weekend that he was there for all the events that he held everything from a live comedy show, bringing down celebrities. He had a live concert. He had a car show that had DJ Envy and all them, Rick Ross. Like, he flew everybody in to Shreveport. It was a major event, and that event was the first 2 nights that there was no crime committed in the city of Shreveport, Louisiana. So with that stat alone, with no crime being committed in the city of Shreveport, Louisiana, or Bossier, and then also police officers probably made the most money ever because 50 Cent actually paid the off-duty police officers a certain wage, which I won't talk about their pockets, but they got paid a certain wage. And they also said that they never experienced the city as safe as it was, right? So it seems like 50 Cent had a very positive initial contact with the city. It seemed like when he came, the city was definitely looking for it. It was something that they actually desired. And there was a lot of promises made. As I was given this information, and I was even at home, I was in town the weekend he was there. Something told me, or something gave me an inkling that this wasn't going to work out, right? Because knowing what we know, especially about our city as well, the property that 50 Cent bought was property that no one wanted to buy, right? This property, his goal was to try to build what Tyler Perry has going on. And I think Cat Williams did the same thing, right? Buying like a movie, like a huge, I think he bought a military base, if I'm not mistaken, for a lower amount than normal. But 50 did the same thing. He bought a bunch of land, a bunch of property. The goal was to, tear all that down and bring in different places for kids to enjoy, for families to enjoy. He was going to build his movie studio here as well, the G Unit movie studio. So he had a lot of plans for the city. With that being said, those buildings were available due to the lack of people wanting to build in those areas, right? Due to crime, due to our crime rate. It was never popular to like invest that property. So we're going to review two videos that with 50 Cent being in the city. And I want you guys to also hear the questions that was asked to 50 Cent or question that was asked to 50 Cent in this video, right? It says, how does your gangster personality help make Shreveport, Louisiana better? So here we go.
This question is from Cornelius. How does your gangster personality help to make a better Shreveport, Louisiana?
Gangster. You ever get that feeling someone's trying to set you up? Yeah, No. MJ, relax. What gangster persona? Listen, I'm so far from tough. You think you wear this color if you're tough? I'm so far from tough. I know some tough people there in Angola. There's a few of them over there. Motherfuckers tough as nails. They don't really care. There's no voice for reason. Just tough. Right, but I think it matches. Right, whenever people have a hard time, you get the energy that's rough. You know that. That's why you know not to project that, because you might want to pick another place to exercise your tough. And Shreveport ain't the spot for that, bro.
Good answer.
So let's tell y'all, when you walked in today, you see how you ain't got to say, well, you see they working against me. So when you guys walked in today, there was a card on your seat with a QR code. You scanned the QR code, and then you sent your questions. In a room this size, it's impossible. And we love all of y'all, and we don't want nobody to say we didn't act. So once again, this is the first meeting. This was a meeting. We met with the state. Now it's approved. From the beginning, 50 said this was for the people. So we came to the people. Right? So y'all know. And guess what? 50 sells out 50,000 seat stadiums. Right? So what I'm going to say to you guys, right? Because you're here, because you wanted information on what's happening. And it's happening. That's the takeaway today. I always say it's God's plan.
Question is.
So that was the one of the smaller conferences they did in the city, speaking about 50 Cent trying to get some questions and answers done for the people. Hey, yo, hold up. For the people in the city. So a lot of people had a lot of questions. You could see that one of the things was them trying to identify, was he trying to bring his street personality to Shreveport, a place that's already filled with violence and drama, and people wanted to know, like, hey, is he really here to like fix the city? Because that's what people are looking for, right? A lot of people who choose to stay in Shreveport, Louisiana, see the potential, they see the growth, and they're trying to see, like, is this person going to come in to actually bring something positive to the city, or are they going to be coming in to just cause more trouble? From what we know, 50 Cent was coming in with very positive energy. He purchased a lot of property, a lot of areas that people did not want to invest in the city. He bought up those areas and was trying to move forward. But we now know, as of this week, 50 Cent did back out of Shreveport, Louisiana's deal. And there was a lot of beef from local rappers or local people. I don't know if you guys are aware of who Hurricane Chris is. That, hey, baby. That's Hurricane Chris, as you see on the right side of 50 Cent. He was very upset when 50 Cent came to the city. He felt like 50 Cent did not reach out to the local rappers, the local rap legends. There were other people who were like, "Hey, I'm from Louisiana. What do you mean?" Because Fred Obain, he did a set there, and he was like, "Hey, I'm from Louisiana. What do you mean?" So there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of negative and positive when 50 came to the city. So we're going to play a little bit of this video that breaks down how some of the people felt about the whole 50 Cent backing out, the beefs that it started, and some of the things that actually went down. So here we go.
Why log on the internet today and 50 Cent just made the entire city his personal comment section. And Hurricane Chris said bet and clapped back with AI video that got the whole timeline in tears, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not skipping by this one, but at the end of the video, I'm gonna show you why Shreveport, Louisiana is now the site of one of the funniest beef in hip hop in 2026. So here's the backstory for all you new people. 50 Cent has been out here trying to turn Shreveport into a whole entertainment empire. He's trying to build G in the studio. We're talking about 6,000 new jobs and billions in revenue. Man out here trying to be the Tyler Perry of Louisiana. But I ain't gonna lie, it ain't been smooth. 50 got frustrated with how slow the city was moving on repairs and support, and he straight up hinted that he might pull out and take his bag elsewhere. And that's when Hurricane Chris decided to add his 2 cents. Shreveport, Louisiana's own A-Bay legend. And to be honest with you, Hurricane Chris has been having issues with this deal since day one. He's been saying for almost 2 years that 50 studio setup skips over the local talent and just use Shreveport as a backdrop while outsiders eat off of it. So when 50 said he might be walking away, Hurricane Chris saw an opening. Now here's the shot that started it all. Chris comes out basically says, 50, if you want to leave, let him leave. I'll take over the development myself. And boy, he shouldn't have said that because that's when 50 Cent decided it was extermination season. So 50 hops on Instagram, posts a clip of Hurricane Chris, and writes the caption, broke. The broke boy talking about he want to take over. LOL, only in Shreveport. The thing about 50, he never misses his chance to market when he's ethering somebody. And I respect the hustle. But Hurricane Chris, he wasn't gonna let that slide. Chris comes back with an AI-generated video. And if you haven't seen it yet, man, look at this. I fifth walking, dancing, holding up a paper that just says lease. Bro just turned 50 Cent into a walking eviction notice. In the caption, Chris tags academics and says something along the lines like, y'all got his baby mama, now he mad. Come help me talk her in the stand, bro. Basically saying 50's whole Shreveport deal is one big messy situation that's about to leave the city. And then he posts a picture holding up a stack of cash, captioning it, all roads lead to Shreveport since 2007, big dummy, big dummy. Now, if you don't know, 50 Cent been tagging all his posts, all roads lead to Shreveport. So he really out here trolling big time. So you know when 50 Cent saw this, he doubled back with his own AI video.
In a move nobody saw coming, Shreveport has tapped local rapper Hurricane to take over the leases rapper 50 Cent has left in limbo.
Yes, John, after a social media post stating that he may need to pull back on his local investments, the city has decided to partner with plain-dealing native Hurricane to keep up the momentum.
Known for his many criticisms of 50's investment in the city from the beginning, Hurricane has stepped up and volunteered to pick up where 50 left off. With the city asking what comes next, we attended today's press conference where Hurricane signed a 700-year lease extension with city officials.
Our on-the-scene news team was there to watch the city's only platinum rapper complete this historic signing. Port City 7 News here live at the historic lease signing here.
He said this guy signed a 700-year lease deal.
Here at City Hall, where Shreveport's only platinum rapper is set to become our newest slumlord.
Citizens of Shreveport, I am proud to announce our partnership with local Queensboro native Hurricane.
I thought he was from Cedar Grove.
Who said that?
At today's press conference, Hurricane notified the city that construction has begun on the Choppa-Dome, replacing the previous G-Dome concept. After the Pines Road natives press conference, we spoke to locals to get their opinions on the city's new deal.
We like it. I'm glad it's somebody local taking over. We need that. I knew he was going to be somebody when he was growing up in Southern Hills.
Where the hell that boy get money to do all that? Man, who in the hell think that's gonna work?
Yeah, 50 ain't did nothing but spend his own money, fix up downtown, and throw a huge festival. Thank God broke-ass Hurricane came to save us.
Well, if I can't get my powder any cheaper than I'm already getting it, who gives a damn?
50 a fool. Shout out to my boy Terry, man. Terry on the Facebook side of things. Shout out to Terry Dickey, man. What's up, my guy?
We also reached out to Mayor Tom Arsenault about unverified rumors that the fallout with 50 may have started with a secret quarrel between the two.
They playing with my boy Arsenault, man. Arsenault.
That's Shreveport for you. Port City 7 News signing out.
Now, look, I know it's funny. I know all the AI videos got you on the comments dying laughing, but there's actual stakes here. This isn't just two rappers being goofy on the internet for internet points. Shreveport's mayor has already publicly responded to 50's threats to leave, basically calling his bluff and saying that the city wants him to stay.
Well, questions and concerns are growing after music and business mogul Curtis 50 Cent Jackson took to Instagram on Monday night, saying that he's pulling back from work in Shreveport. KSLA's Peyton Manuel has an update on what it could mean for the city.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson took to Instagram Monday night, writing, quote, "There are people in Shreveport that just don't want things to get better. I only make deals that make sense. I'm going to have to pull back on the Red River. Peace." The post quickly sparked questions about whether Jackson is reconsidering some of his plans in the city.
I didn't really have much of a reaction. That's his expression, I guess, of some element of frustration.
To address major building repairs before moving forward.
So while 50 and Chris out here clowning each other's finances and dance moves, there's an actual real economic development deal hanging in the balance for the entire city. Jobs, studios, a whole entertainment hub. Now, don't get it twisted. A lot of y'all don't know they had beef last year when 50 Cent started booking out-of-state artists to perform at the grand opening. Hurricane Chris said, "Oh, hell no. Y'all not going to have people that's not even from the city come and promote." So he clapped at 50 Cent.
You're supposed to be that's a part of hip-hop. You throw a concert in Louisiana and don't book no Louisiana legends and put no bankroll in no Louisiana legends pocket, but you pay the police $500,000. What type of bitch ass shit is that? You ain't with my shit. You taking advantage of my city because shit cheap and shit costs way less than it costs where you from. And y'all so crazy that y'all gonna let this down here and not show no love to Louisiana. This ain't book no Louisiana artists. This book Big Papa. This book Be Will. This book Hurricane. This didn't even go to Baton Rouge and get no boosies or no weddies. Like, he didn't with us. He came to take advantage of us. Shreveport had cheap ass land. He came and bought that shit and they don't give a fuck about with us.
How much did you spend that weekend? Because
$5 million.
Out of your own money.
Yeah.
Like you built a city in Shreveport for that weekend.
So everybody got taken care of except for Hurricane Chris. But they need to try and celebrate. That's a part of our culture also. Right? And that publicity tried to build some sort of noise to drop a record, and it didn't.
So as you see here, this is a good place to stop currently. So 50 Cent came and purchased property and land in our city in Shreveport, Louisiana. As you see, he also dropped $5 million that weekend, right? As you heard, he utilized about $1 million of that to pay the officers. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the officers did get paid very, very well. Hurricane Chris is upset about that, but in a city that's known for its violence, I mean, I think security will be the highest thing that you invest in, right? So, but what started to really spark a conversation for me was this first interview he did at the Breakfast Club, because you're going to start to identify and see when you start to make business investments, those around you will start to question what you're doing. And I think that's what our city should have paid more closer attention to. I think paying attention to the outside noise would have let us know like where 50 was possibly going to head. Because if you start to listen to DJ Envy, he's asking questions like, why Shreveport? Like, why did you invest that? Like, because DJ Envy came up for the car show because he had a few cars shipped in for the car show, things of that nature. But just kind of pay attention to this conversation.
Because it's just like when the whole event and everything is positive, and you come with I'm gonna kill somebody energy, and they go for what exactly? For building the economy in the city that needs it. When you got that many people there that understand it, the smarter people that's there look and go, this fool just want clicks on the thing, like on the machine, because you can't, there's nothing negative about it. You can't find a negative point.
So here's my take. 50 Cent is a business genius, no cap, but he also cannot resist getting into it with somebody. Hurricane Chris is petty enough and funny enough to match his energy post for post. Chris ain't backing down. And honestly, this AI stuff is better content than half of the stuff on the charts right now. If this beef keeps going, I guarantee you by next week we get another video. So that's the situation. 50 Cent versus Hurricane Chris. Drop a comment and let me know if you rocking with 50's business moves or you.
So there you have it, man. 50 Cent came to the city, has backed out of the city, chose to take his investments another place, chose to go elsewhere with his investments. Something that really affected the city. From what I'm hearing from those that I know in the city that might be in certain areas or certain positions of power, it sounds like the property that 50 purchased was property that no one wanted. So if they don't come to a conclusion, a determination, 50 could be out of just pretty much loss of money, right? You purchase land and it's just going to sit there and the money is already into the city. I'm hoping they're able to work out their differences, because with 50 did bring a very positive weekend to the city. There was a lot of strategy behind this. It took almost like 4 to 6 months for them to set everything up, to get everything set up. It was a very positive event for the city. Again, it was our first weekend with 0 crimes committed. I'm talking about not even small crimes of like petty theft. There was something to do every hour around the city. He even had buses set up where you were able to park in at the fairgrounds, and he bussed you over to the events. They bus you over to the comedy show. Like, so you never had to park in downtown Shreveport. They would bus you over. So it was a great system, a great process. It brought a lot of money to the city, a lot of attention to the city, even if it was for a short time. With that being said, the way other people act around can affect deals. What's up, Miss Ambitious? She said, good evening. How you been doing, ma'am? How you been doing? We just doing a little Shreveport weekly news, ma'am. It's just a new show I'm going to be bringing every Sunday, just kind of talking about my city, where I'm from, and the things that kind of have molded my thought process or how I see things. So again, that's 50 Cent, guys. We all know 50 Cent is the #1 troll out there. So if you ever want to get into it, he is definitely down for the play. So we're going to move on to the next segment, guys. We're going to be moving on to our sports segment. Our sports segment are going to be, it could either be high school, it could be college, it could be anything of that nature. But today we're going to actually be representing one of our high school students who has made some big moves. So here goes 5150 Sports. Let's go. So as you see here, we have Peyton Houston, Shreveport, Louisiana quarterback. He's a 4-star quarterback at our prep school in the city called Evangel Christian Academy. He's a 4-star recruit. He has signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Nike. Nike actually posted this on their Instagram of the 50 high schoolers that they signed. They signed a lot of great talent. Our quarterback coming from our city, Peyton, is actually going to be a full commit to the University of LSU. So he's going to LSU. For those who would like to know more about his story, which is an awesome story, you can go on to Tubi, actually, and it's a docu-series called Football, God Family Football, and it's about the Evangel Christian Academy, and it's the year he's there, these past 2 years that he's been there. Very decorated athlete, very talented. His dad and mom actually did this move very strategically. They actually moved to Shreveport, Louisiana to make sure that he can be a part of the Evangel Christian Academy. He's done a great job. It's amazing to see people from your city actually move up, do great things. Hopefully he gives back. We have had a lot of great names come from our city. People like Dak Prescott, who comes from Halton, Louisiana, which is pretty much in the backyard of Shreveport, not less than 15, 20 minutes. We have Morris Claiborne. We had Ornez Battle. We got Shromile Swift. We had a list of names of talented athletes who have came from the city. Shromile, shout out to Shromile Swift. If you ever get to see this, he actually attends Word of God, and he's one of the coaches there for the basketball team now. He's doing a lot for the city. Shout out to Shromile Swift, man. But shout out to Peyton Houston. Peyton Houston is our Shreveport athlete of the day. He's a quarterback, 4-star quarterback, and he has fully committed to LSU. A great talent. I mean, if you get a chance to watch his highlight reel, it's amazing. The talent he has, the arm strength already at such a young age. He has promise. And I think the biggest thing about him is his attitude and the way he carries himself. I'm going to actually show you guys a clip from him that I actually explain to you guys a little bit better about who he is as a person and a human being. So here goes more information on Peyton Houston.
Quarterback and highly recruited prospect Peyton Houston became the first committee of LSU's 2027 class. The 4-star quarterback had offers from more than 30 schools and explored his options carefully before committing to the Tigers on his 17th birthday.
Definitely, by far, if a kid was blessed with this opportunity, it's probably one of the hardest decisions you can ever make in your life. You go to all these different campuses and you see why they're the campus they are and why they are so high, and it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
So this was a long decision. This decision literally had ebbs and flows. It went from one place to the other place. And we went up to a lot of schools in the spring, so that kind of just intensified the decision making and kind of slowed it down a little bit, really.
Oh, good for them both. That's wonderful.
That's weird.
So we don't want to play angry, man. So shout out to Peyton Houston out in Shreveport. Great athlete, even better family. As you can see, he was very well spoken, can articulate very, very well. He is our Port City Sports Athlete of this week, Peyton Houston. The football season will be starting, so a lot of the information you will see from here on out will actually come from like the Friday Night Fever, as we call it in Shreveport. So it'll show the updated highlight scores. We'll probably run through that every Sunday. We'll run through the Friday Football Fever and let them run down the scores, and you guys can see our local athletes that make up our city. Shout out to you, Todd. Appreciate you, boss man. Shout out. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe and send this out to a friend. So that was our 5150 sports segment there with the Port City Sports. And we're going to finish off today's show. Like I said, this show won't be long, just taking time out to let you guys see what the city is all about. But today's Shreveport history, I think, is going to be very, very entertaining for you all. This Shreveport history is going to be something that it's really going to take a lot of people down memory lane for those who end up watching it that's from the city. But there's a lot that has came from our city of Shreveport. And the reason why I wanted to start off with this is because a lot of people who know me know that I'm a man who likes to do things very strategically. I'm a person who likes to operate within the world that I know things can be executed in just by trial and error. But I'm going to show you guys why my thought process is this way. If you guys are looking at the thumbnail today, that gentleman in the middle is Pastor Harry Blake. He was our pastor as we grew up in the city of Shreveport, in Allendale. He pretty much took care of the city, man. He was a huge activist. He marched with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. He did a lot when it came to Black history. If you look him up, again, his name is Harry Blake. You can look him up. He was the pastor of Mount Canyon Baptist Church. Again, powerful man. But we were taught at a very young age in my city to do things in a certain manner. And I know for everybody that might not seem like something that seems feasible all the time. But it really taught me how to not be so emotional about things, but be very direct and very strategic about things. And, you know, not everybody's going to look at things that way, but those who do want the knowledge, it's there. So we're going to shout out a little bit of our Shreveport history today, and we're going to run it through. So here we go.
The Black history of Shreveport, from Reconstruction to right now. Shreveport, Louisiana. If you only look at headlines, you will miss the truth. If you only look at crime statistics, you will miss the architecture. If you only look at politics today, you will miss the blueprint that was drafted more than 150 years ago. Because Black history in Shreveport did not begin with protests. It began with power. It began with ownership. It began with a man named Cesar Carpentier Antoine, C.C. Antoine, the first architect. Before there were modern council meetings, before there were mayoral elections debated on Facebook, before there were first Black headlines in the 2000s, there was Antoine, a Union Army captain, a businessman, a landowner in Shreveport, a Louisiana state senator from Caddo Parish, and eventually in 1873, the 13th lieutenant governor of Louisiana. Let that sit for a second. 1873. Less than 10 years after slavery officially ended, and a Black man with ties to Shreveport was sitting in statewide executive office. That is.
So as you see there, starting off with C.C. Antoine, somebody who played a very powerful position from our city in the 1873. This history is actually taught in our schools, where it used to be taught. I can't speak on that now, but it used to be taught in our civic classes and all our Louisiana history classes. And knowing that someone came from literally less than 10 years after slavery to be able to sit into a government seat for a state that now struggles to even get a Black person into a seat. For those who know anything about the politics now, just imagine the information that he was able to obtain, and the moves that he had to make to get there. So shout out to CC.
Not accidental history. That is strategic history. Reconstruction was a moment where formerly enslaved men didn't just ask for inclusion, they stepped into governance. Antoine represents something most people never talk about. Black political competence was proven early, but Reconstruction did not last. White supremacist backlash swept across Louisiana. Federal protections weakened. violence and intimidation rose, and the progress that had begun was methodically rolled back. But here's the part they cannot erase. The idea had already been planted. Black Shreveport had tasted governance.
So as you see there, I think that line was very powerful. Regardless what goes on in life, the seeds that we plant are the most important thing that we'll ever be able to do. When people know their history, they'll be able to come back and do things that other people probably thought was impossible. And that's why when you think about myself, I always try to give strategy, give information, give different ways of being able to move within the system. Shout out to Ambition. She said, if you're watching, please hit that like button, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Soft Rain. She said, y'all make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We are speaking on that Shreveport history, man. And like you said, once they tasted that we had the power to get into these positions, the seed was already planted. So again, it's very powerful to know your history as well.
And once you taste power, you never forget how it works. The long shadow of Jim Crow. After Reconstruction collapsed, Black Shreveport entered survival mode.
Listen to this, though. So they're talking about the Jim Crow area when Shreveport, Louisiana went to more of a segregation and went into a very, what they call survival mode. But listen to what we did as a Black community.
This is the period most documentaries rush through, but we won't, because this era tells you how a community survives when political doors are slammed shut, segregation hardened, voting restrictions tightened, economic access narrowed. So what did Black Shreveport do? It built parallel systems. Churches became strategy rooms. Fraternal organizations became financial institutions. Black-owned businesses became economic shields. The Calanthian legacy. The United Order of Calanthi was more than a social club. It was a lifeline. In an era when mainstream insurance companies refused coverage, when banks denied loans, when white-owned institutions blocked access, Black fraternal orders created burial and
So for those who are hearing this language, you might hear Black fraternal orders, or you might hear things like the Masons, right? In our city, the Mason lodges are very popular. There's a lot of Masons within our city of Shreveport. So there was a lot that was going on behind the scenes. If you guys never seen the movie Rosewood, I would highly recommend.
Insurance, financial assistance, and community protection systems. This is important because when people say Black wealth never accumulated, they forget something. It did accumulate, but it accumulated inside protected community ecosystem.
So as you heard there, that he talked about the pretty much the Black dollar circulating, right? And like he was saying that this is why for those who have heard me say it, I always say that we must be strategic. We must be able to plan. And the plan is not about ending worldwide disasters, right? That's why I started this new show on Sundays talking about my city, right? Because they say if you don't sweep around your door, you can't go sweep around others. And we have a lot of people who think they have the answers for the world, but they're not even fixing their city that they're sitting right in. So I wanted to even not be someone pointing at others and then having three fingers pointed back at me. So I'm going back to actually educate and talk more about my city and where I come from. And this talked about the protection of the community ecosystems, right? That dollar circulated within their walls, right? That's why, supporting Black ownership, supporting Black businesses, things of that nature still exists. And it doesn't have to be worldwide, right? You don't have to have a big web page to go and be the best hat maker or be the best shoe shiner or be the best clothes maker. All these things can be done within your own ecosystem.
Often outside mainstream record books. Mutual aid wasn't charity. It was strategy. It was economic sovereignty under restriction. And Shreveport had it. Civil rights. Shreveport, strategy under pressure. When the 1950s arrived, a new phase of the struggle began. This wasn't about parallel systems anymore. It was about integration. It was about dismantling barriers, and that required courage. Dr. C.O. Simpkins, strategist, not symbol. Dr. C.O. Simpkins was a dentist. But in Shreveport, that profession meant something different. It meant you had an office, and an office meant you had a meeting space, and a meeting space meant you could organize. He was part of the machinery of civil rights.
So think about this, guys. For those who are watching, I appreciate those who are watching. Think about what these Black men had to do, right? They went to got their education. He became a dentist. And who did you think he probably thought about even if he didn't, think about how powerful it is to know that your dentist office now became the place where people were able to meet due to segregation, due to things that were going on around you. I think a lot of times we are so focused on the problem instead of us being the solution. And I always tell people, that's why for myself, when I talk about my military career, yes, I could blame everything around me, or I could study harder and make rank. Because once I made rank, I was able to then influence those who look like me. They didn't have an office or a safe space to come talk to. And that's how I look at life even still to this day. And it's not just because of like the things I experienced in the military, but this is also part of my history, part of my heritage, part of the things that I was brought up around. And you're going to see that it hit very, very close to home in just a second.
Northwest Louisiana. He worked alongside national movement leaders. He endured violent backlash and intimidation because civil rights in Shreveport was not gentle. It was resisted. The myth that the South quietly accepted desegregation is exactly that, a myth. Shreveport's progress came with pressure, and Simpkins understood something powerful. Change requires structure. He didn't just...
It says change requires structure. Let's hear that one more time.
Myth that the South quietly accepted desegregation is exactly that, a myth. Shreveport's progress came with pressure, and Simpkins understood something powerful. Change requires structure. He didn't just protest, he coordinated. Rev. Dr. Harry Blake.
So shout out to Reverend Blake. That's my pastor for 18 years of my life. Pastor Harry Blake. We didn't always see eye to eye. He is in heaven now, but he was a man of importance in our city of Shreveport, Louisiana. He did a lot when it came to the civil rights movement, but he did even more. He educated us who were in the building under that covering about how to organize, how to be strategized, how to come together. And one of the things that we did notice, and one of the things that he educated us on very fast, is a lot of the people who look like you will be against those that look like you, because nobody wants to take the time to be patient and understand that we must sow seeds and be strategic. There's no movement that has been successful that started overnight. Everybody has to be working together. Everybody has to have the same vision. Doesn't mean we're going to agree on everything, but when it comes to change, you must have structure. And we have heard that multiple times today.
The pulpit as power. Mount Canaan Baptist Church. If those walls could speak, they would tell stories of whispered strategy sessions, late night planning, and sermons that were coded calls to action. Churches in Shreveport were not passive worship spaces. They were political engines. The pulpit became a platform for dignity, discipline, and defiance.
I can tell you this with my own eyes. The first time I ever seen a white man come into our church, I went to Mount Canaan Baptist Church on Austin Street, 1600 Austin Street, or 1500 Austin Street. The first time we had a white man in our church, I probably was already 14 or 15 at that time. That was the first time I ever seen a white person in our church at all. Like, I'm talking about come to the door of the church, come drive around the church. It was the first time. We used to have a amusement park in the city called Hamels Park. We had an amusement park in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I remember at the time, the white gentleman, I can't think of his name, but he was running for a politician seat. But I want to say that he had to, for him to come into the church, I'm sure he paid a heavy ransom to try to get the votes of those. And for, at that time of my life, for a white man to walk into our church also meant that our pastor had a form of relationship with that person and had trust in that person. So again, I'm gonna have to try to find out who that was, but I was probably 13 or 14 the first time I ever seen a white person actually enter our church walls. So
Black leadership in Shreveport has always carried a spiritual backbone. Faith wasn't just religion, it was resistance. Ann Brewster, history's unsettled questions. Ann Brewster's name carries weight. Her 1964 death has remained part of community memory for decades. Official conclusions exist, but memory also exists. And sometimes history isn't just about what's written in reports. It's about what lingers in a community's spirit. Her story reminds us of something uncomfortable. The civil rights movement in Shreveport carried real risk. Organizers were not protected. Pressure was not abstract. Fear was not theoretical. Progress required bravery. Culture as power, the municipal auditorium era. In the 1960s and 70s, Shreveport became part of a Southern performance corridor. The municipal auditorium hosted artists traveling through Louisiana. Black audiences filled seats. Touring circuits brought revenue. Performance created economic circulation. Music wasn't just entertainment.
So think about this. If you go see the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium now, it would be unrecognizable. It would be recognizable at this point. And with that being said, that lets you know that history is not passed on. The importance of history is not passed on. Shout out to our girl, Soft Rain 999. She said, for the collection plate, love the new show. Thank you, ma'am. I'm gonna let you guys hear a little bit of the new song that goes with this show. Y'all can shout out Soft Rain for a sample of the new soundtrack. Here we go.
Welcome to the city. Yeah, Souls of Thought. 5150. Ratchet City. Shreveport. Louisiana. Hey, let's ride. Welcome to the city where the real ones grew. Red dirt on my boots, got Louisiana roots. If I'm talking about the world, gotta start where I stand. Building up my people, put the future in our hands. Ratchet City raging, now it's time to give back. Every story got a voice, every voice got facts. This ain't just the news, this the city's own truth. Welcome to the weekly news, welcome to the roots. Before I point a finger, I'ma sweep my own porch. Can't carry the flame if you don't protect the torch.
Can't carry the flame if you don't protect the torch, man. And that's what we're doing here on the Sunday news, Shreveport News. Thank you, Soft Rain. I promise to give you back all those tokens once you get monetized. For those who don't know, y'all make sure y'all follow Soft Rain. She will be going live this afternoon in probably about an hour for her weekly Radar with Rain, doing news as well, in a different form. But make sure y'all tap in over there. If you want to put it into the chat, Rain, I'll make sure everybody sees it.
It was economic stimulus. It was identity reinforcement. It was proof that Black excellence could not be confined to segregated backrooms. Culture is often underestimated in political history, but culture moves consciousness, and consciousness moves policy. We're only at the midpoint of this story because what we've covered so far, Reconstruction, Jim Crow survival, civil rights strategy, cultural expansion was foundation. The modern political transformation is next, and that's where this story becomes contemporary. Part 2, modern power, builders, and the living era. The executive shift. History does not move in straight lines. It expands. It contracts. It reorganizes. And after civil rights legislation reshaped the legal landscape of America, Shreveport entered a new era, the era of institutional access. But access is not the same as control. And representation is not the same as transformation. That distinction matters. Cedric Glover, breaking the mayor.
So that is Cedric Glover, man. Cedric Glover, everybody know the Glover family in the city. That is a beautiful rendition picture of downtown Shreveport, Louisiana. Him breaking into the, and he stayed the mayor for a long time. Cedric Glover did a lot for the city. We had a couple people in our church as well that tried to run as well. But Cedric Glover was very, very well known and very, very well respected.
Oral ceiling. In 2006, Shreveport elected its first Black mayor. That headline matters historically.
2006, we finally elected our first Black mayor. And think back to the original part of this video. We had a governor, a Black governor in 1873. We elected our first governor in 2006. That was only 2 decades ago, guys. Only 2 decades ago. And this is why I always speak about being strategic and having a plan is so important. The things I say aren't not just for me to sound like I don't want to support or don't want to be part of the group. I'm just someone who has learned from our history how things must go for you to get into those seats so that you then can make expansion and change and be the point, not just have access, but be the actual access that people need.
But psychologically, it matters even more. For generations, executive power in southern cities symbolized exclusion. So when Cedric Glover took office, the symbolism was obvious. But symbolism is easy. Administration is not. Executive leadership means budget control, department oversight, public safety direction, economic development negotiation. It means responsibility. And when a community elects its first Black mayor, expectations multiply. Glover's era signaled something deeper. Black leadership in Shreveport was no longer peripheral. It was central. Ollie Tyler, gender and power expansion. When Ollie
Tyler, another one.
Tyler became mayor, another boundary shifted. The first Black woman mayor in Shreveport. This wasn't just racial progress, it was gender progression inside Black political leadership. Now, psychologically, here's what's important. When representation expands, scrutiny expands with it. The standard becomes heavier, and that's part of the evolution of power.
So let me play that back again, because a lot of times when I make that statement, I get questions asked about why do we have to work 5 times harder, this and this. It's right here, guys. This is nothing new under the sun.
Here's what's important. When representation expands, scrutiny expands with it. The standard becomes heavier, And that's part of the evolution of power.
It's just part of the evolution of power. The standard becomes heavier.
Public safety and control of force. For much of Southern history, policing structures were enforcement arms of segregation. So when we analyze modern leadership in that arena, we have to understand the weight of that institution. Sheriff Henry Whitehorn, first black sheriff of Caddo Parish, former Louisiana State Police Superintendent, former Shreveport Police Chief. That resume matters because public safety leadership requires institutional knowledge, political balance, command presence, trust management. Representation in law enforcement leadership in the South carries psychological symbolism, but it also carries measurable impact.
So we're going to stop here. I'm going to cover the rest of this video. It's about a 20-minute video. So I'm going to cover the second half of this Shreveport history next week on the weekly Sunday news for Shreveport. But I just wanted to be able to share with you guys of like where I come from. I come from a city where we know how long it can take for things to look the way that we want it to look. Nothing happens overnight, but you can't stop the fight just because nothing happens overnight. That whole video for the first 8 minutes talked about strategy, talked about expansion, talked about the symbolism of seeing someone who looks like yourself in places of power and responsibility. Regardless of how small some might think that is, I think it's huge. And that's why I always lead towards being a strategic leader. Someone who's going to actually find a solution and not be overly emotional. Just imagine if they tried to fight every fight that was happening in Shreveport, Louisiana, we would never got these leaders into position. So that's what I'm going to be bringing to you guys every Sunday here in the afternoon with the Sunday service, the Shreveport Sunday news, weekly Sunday news. I'm going to be bringing this to you from all different angles. Like I said, we will have the top 4 categories as always. We'll talk about any breaking crime or news in the city, any politics or entertainment news as well. We'll talk about our sports athletes in the city, and then we'll always end the show on something when it comes to history. I feel like history is something that everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to know the part that it plays. And I just want you guys to understand where souls comes from, right? Everything comes from the root. And everything that I have learned has come from people that are very powerful civil rights leaders. I just want to shout out to my brother who's been in the law enforcement world for over a decade now, serving our city still to this day. My father who's retired, who's still in the city, like my family who's been there serving the city, doing things. I think it's very important for us to understand where people come from. I appreciate you, Mary. She said, love the new show. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Just trying to be able to deposit small doses of who Souls is. I think a lot of people get things misconstrued because of content. And I think people forget the roots are deeper. Just because I can control my emotions doesn't mean that I haven't witnessed things, haven't been through things, or don't come from a culture where things weren't easy. I just choose to take a different route due to the leaders that I have from my city who have been very strategic. So again, I appreciate everybody who has tuned in. Thank you to Soft Rain for the 10 ball. Thank you, Mario, for the support. Thank you, Ambition. Thank you, I Am Todd. Thank you, Jen was in here, I think. Thank you, Rigid. Thank you, Super Mac. Thank you, Naomi, who was the first to stop in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. This is just a first rendition of the weekly news from Shreveport with Souls. I'll get better and better every week, get more and more streamlined, more and more organized, so that this show is nothing but a full production. But don't forget those things that you learned today about C.C. Antoine from 1873. Don't forget about our first ever governor from 2006, Cedric Glover. Miss Ollie Taylor, our first Black female mayor. My pastor, who's no longer with us, but Pastor Harry Blake, thinking about all those people who made very great sacrifices for us to even be able to have a debate or disagreement today. I think it's one of those things that we need to fully understand our history, where we come from, and understand that we must sweep around our door before we can sweep around the world. And I will catch you guys on the next one, man. I appreciate y'all, and we'll close out with the rest of the song. Here we go.
Everybody got opinions, everybody got taste, but they don't know the hustle or the roads that we take. They see a headline, think they know the whole page. Judge judge a whole city from a 5-second stage. But they ain't seen the grandmas praying every single night, or the fathers working doubles just to make the bills right. This from Moortown, Cooper Road too, Ellendale, Cedar Grove, I remember y'all too. Hollywood Heights, Queensboro, every block, every street. I'ma tell it how it happened, let the people find its peace. We got pain, we got pride, we got stories they can never hide. If we don't tell them, who gon' tell them right? So I'm bringing every truth into the light. Welcome to the city where the real ones grew. Red dirt on my boots, got Louisiana roots. If I'm talking about the world, gotta start where I stand. Building up my people, put the future in our hands.